What is going on, guys? I am here with CJ, who is a Storm player in New Stark City. What was it, 2? I already forgot. New Star City 2. He is like in the top 10 when it comes to the rankings of the power level in Storms in his server. He's paid a little bit of money, right? Or
yeah,
he paid a little bit of money.
Like crazy. I don't think I've cracked like $200 yet or anything like that. And I have no plan on doing it. I have no plan on spending any more money. So
what we're gonna do in this video, I'm gonna talk with CJ, and then I'm gonna ask him questions of if he were to start all over, what would he recommend, and if he was doing it free to play, what would he go for? With like what non-regional gear set would he recommend? What stats would he be looking for? What skills would he focus on? That way, for anybody that's a Storm and they're free to play, this video would be the one will be the best for you. So let's just start off with gear. If you were to start all over and you were going the non-regional route, what gear would you go for?
Oh, what gear would I go for? As a lot of Storm players do know, we all go for that one set, which would be 80 set. So that'll give you the attack pierce, defensive pierce, and weather witch. Like those are godly for Storm because she has like no way at all to get defensive pierce on her card. So this is like the god of all god regional sets for her. Honestly, I think this is probably like maybe top 2 non-regional gear for characters, other than like Spider-Man, who gets web shooters and dodge on his.
Okay.
The next one that she has is the Moscow Knights, because there's also another thing that she has troubles capping, that's critical rate on there. So if you guys do need critical rate, I highly prefer this one as the second gear that you try to go for. And also her icicle crash. I know most Storm players, they want to use the Invincibility shield, which is why we pick the 80s over this one. But if you're a strategist per se, like if you can dodge and you know patterns and all that, and you feel like you don't need the invincibility, then the Moscow Nice one can be very helpful, because in all honesty, the icicle crash skill it only lacks behind the weather witch skill by like 200 points, especially after that buff that she had. So those are the 2 non-regional sets that I would definitely go with if I was to do this all over again.
Oh, okay. And let's just say I end up getting the gear, right? Let's just say I finally get in the 80s. Yeah. Now, as I'm leveling up, what stats do I want to find when I'm leveling up, like my helmet, my chest? Like, what are the best stats to have for your helmet, your chest, your gauntlet, and your feet?
Okay, so as a Storm player, as some people do know, well, most of the people on my server in New Stark City 1 and Omega Flight, I am a big PvE advocate when it comes to Storm. So in my humblest opinion, I would say if you get anything that's PvP wise, especially if you're free to play, then I kind of feel like, unless if it's dodge, then okay, you can keep that. But anything else that's like maybe like accuracy rate, I wouldn't like dabble too much in it. Maybe get like 1 accuracy rate if you can, or maybe your head and your arms. But when I rolled her gears, I tried to focus more on like the critical damage and the crit rate, and I tried to get some defensive pierce. But as you guys can see by my gear, it doesn't look like I got the roll. But I did get another head here that I got a defensive pierce, so maybe I'm gonna try to roll that up. But the 3 stats that you guys always, and I mean when you play a Storm, there's 3 stats you should always worry about, and that is her crit rate, her crit damage, and her defensive pierce. Because I don't know if many of you guys have seen my streams or anything like that before, but like you look at my stats right now, you would think like she's not going to hit that hard, but her synergistics with her shock damage, it's kind of like it works like Star Lord's, like super villain damage. The more super villain damage you have on top of having these max gears right here, it allows her to pop off in like a big way. Like as soon as I hit like 45% defensive pierce, which is where most of the top level Storm players would tell you probably want to be, 45 to 50%. Like my damage did a huge spike jump. So the faster you guys can go ahead and get this defensive pierce to 45, 50%, the better your Storm is definitely going to feel.
Okay.
So when you guys roll her gear, especially her head and her chest, I would do it in this order. Maybe try to stretch for defensive pierce as much as you possible, then roll some crit damage and some crit rate in there. As far as her arms go, you probably want to do dodge and crit damage decrease. If you really, really want to be a PvP fanatic, then maybe try to roll all dodge. And
Hmm.
for her shoes, I think her shoes is one of the most important things because when you play with Storm, you want to, like, if you can, you want to try to run like something like 3 cooldown decrease and like 2 stamina recover, or vice versa.
Okay.
I would get into that later why you need stamina recovery, but for now, I'm just going to let you guys know those are the stats that you want to try to roll on it.
Okay. Okay. So stamina recovery and cooldown decrease.
Yeah, yeah, those are going to be very vital for her.
So okay, now when it comes to like badges, what do you have for your badges?
As you guys can see, I was serious when I said this. Like, she has no way to cap her stats. So you gotta like put in the work to do this. So as you guys see my badges, you see there's a lot of double greens. Like, I even have like 110 badges that I haven't even equipped because they didn't come with no green badges. Some was like double red or stuff like that. So what I have on this one is this was the attack that I got. But if you can with the red cores, you want to try to get critical rate. That's the best thing you want to do. I think this one is critical rate of attack. Yeah, I got critical rate on this one.
Oh, that's a
Um,
nice one.
yeah, like I said, guys, if you're a Storm player, don't even worry about attack. I think that's something that I definitely would change on this build. I focused a little bit too much on attack, which doesn't make sense to me now because her and Black Widow has like that's pretty funny that the two free to play friendliest characters right now in PvE and PvP wise, that they have the highest attack base damage in the game. So you don't really have to focus on their attack that much. Just try to focus on, crit damage, crit rate, and their defense appears if you can.
Okay, okay. Now, what about skills? Like, what skills should I focus on first? Because it's bad to just try to buy each one just because you see the red dot. So, which ones should I aim to upgrade that are worth upgrading?
Okay, so there's going to be two things that I want you guys to understand. I know you see a lot of Storm players, even including myself. You see them use this ball right here. I just want you guys to know this is with the Hydra set +6. It's only 465 damage. Sure, it's good because it gives that amount over my skill cooldown. So it gives me like 465% of damage, like every 6% of cooldown, 6%, 5%. So it's good. But when you don't have this, the damage on this is very, very mediocre, and that's like to say, like, you'd be ineligible to even see any damage. So if you're not gonna put on any kind of regional gear, the best thing that I would do for you guys is you always want to have her Weather Witch, her electrocution. That's gonna be her bread and butter, just like I told
Mm-hmm.
you guys. That's why the 80 set is there. Um, and then you have this. This is also her bread and butter, but like I said, this one kind of has some competition because this also has another bread and butter skill. This right here is our invincibility. This skill right here is going to be your friend throughout the story mode. This is like a new player's biggest dreams because you can literally stand this boat for like 8 seconds. And during that 8 seconds, you're literally recovering your dodge meter and also your health at the same time.
So,
So
so with this having that bubble protection for like up to 8 seconds, with that, I can see it being very helpful when it comes to fighting Dormammu, right?
yes. That is how a lot of free to play. Like when you ask free to play players, when you see free to play players or lower players always saying, "I can't beat Dormammu, I can't beat
Mm-hmm.
Dormammu." You go look at them, bro. They're never really Storm players.
Mm-hmm.
They're maybe like some Spider-Man players because their dice hasn't got all the way up there. Some Black Widow players because they're so squishy. But the reason that Storm players don't have that much issues because as soon as they pop this right here, they already done knocked off like 2 or 3 of his beams, and then you just gotta dodge the last beam, the
Yeah.
last 1 or 2 beams. So
Yeah.
that like when I tell you like this category here, it definitely has competition between these two. So hey, it's your choice, but you want to go damage, it's right here. You want to go Invincibility is right here.
I I think I would for most of the time do the damage one, but then when it comes to like Dormammu, probably that invincibility one.
Yeah,
The ball
Invincibility one.
shield, yeah, would be that.
Yeah,
Just fighting Dormammu and knowing how easy he can kill you, having
yeah,
that would really be beneficial. So that's actually a good
yeah.
thing to know.
Yeah. When I'll let you guys know before I even like started spending money on this game, or well, spent money past tense. But when I started spending money, I usually had this as my bread and butter. Like
Okay.
everywhere I went, it was 24/7. It was strapped to me like a gun. Okay, that's how strapped that skill was to me. I didn't go nowhere without it. I felt naked without it. I ain't gonna lie with you guys. So like it saved me a lot of times, especially when you got I don't know if you guys remember this, but when we used to have like those one revives in story mode. Oh my god, this
Yep.
came in so much handy when I was going in the Maestro fight and like I would get cornered when he jumps up in the air and I have no dodges left. I
Yeah.
just went ahead, popped this, and I was fine. So
Yeah.
another skill that's bread and butter. This one right here. Regardless of what you have, this is always going to be bread and butter as well. Maybe if you can get some regional gear that has to do with ice, then maybe you don't use it. But yeah, you're always gonna want this skill. So another thing that's her bread and butter is this skill. This is a decreased cooldown, and this works phenomenal, especially when you're early game because you have no way to. Like I said, this comes in with her boots. I don't. If you
Okay.
guys are paying attention, both of these work. This one is her increased stamina recovery, and this one is her decreased cooldown. So depending on your roles, you could
Yeah.
even do without either one. But just letting you guys know, these right here are bread and butters. Like you don't maybe in like PvP, you don't need these, but for sure in PvE, if you want to
Hmm.
do the max damage possible, you're gonna want to have one of these two on. But as a free to play player, you don't have that many options, and I understand that. So you get your 80s boost that you've been just clawing for, and it just has like the worst kind of luck in them. Let's say you get stamina recovery, but you get no decreased cooldown. So this is gonna be your bread and butter right here.
Hmm.
Vice versa. Well,
I guess
okay,
if you're having trouble getting enough stamina,
yeah,
nature's strength would be the one to go for. But if you're not having trouble with stamina recovery, then go for Wall of Wind.
yeah, certain because I don't want to skip in too far in the video, so I'm gonna say for now it's not a bread and butter unless there's a caveat. But when we get there, I'll bring it back to you guys.
Okay.
Now for that ball skill, you can use either one of these as her bread and as her skill. This one's right here. Some people prefer this skill. It's a very nice fast skill. You see how fast she let it go. Doesn't cost that much cooldown, so people use that. They also use this skill as well. This is a very nice skill because it tracks. Like when you're going against someone like Ares and you throw this down, it literally tracks him wherever he goes. So that's fantastic, and it's also
Ah.
cancer. Yeah, and it's also cancelable. Like you can throw this out right there, hit the dodge button, and all that will still come down while you're doing another attack. So that's also fantastic.
Okay.
This skill right here, this is kind of a for fun skill. This is a skill that you will see when you're doing spec ops because it does a
Mm-hmm.
lot of damage on base. So if you're a storm player and you're trying to get those big scores in spec
Mm-hmm.
ops, definitely use this one right here. This is a big one. And this one right here, this one is kind of all or nothing kind of bust. Like it's only this skill in the class. I guess if like maybe you don't get the biggest luck and you have to use air current class, and this class also works too because of the high guard break. So
Okay.
maybe you can be some kind of support that just guard breaks the boss and raids and things like that. But as far as skill wise, there's a lot of mix and mesh, and I know you guys didn't see me talk about this one because this one right here isn't really all that. It only has like one good damaging skill, and it's like on a 34-second cooldown. That's kind of not what you really want to see.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing this is good for is maybe like support. As you guys can see, it increases the dodge rate, and we all know how valuable dodge rate is when it comes to PvP. So
Yeah.
that's more what that is. This is something that you will see when you do Alliance War. That's what I use. So those are the skills that you kind of want to have right there. But like I said, if you were free to play, you're probably level 70. because you know that's about that time you get to like Lefay and Sakaar.
Yeah.
Weather Witch, maybe do the invisible bubble, and then do this right here, throwing her skill cooldown, and in all honesty, I would probably throw this one on right here. So this is kind of what my setup would look like
Okay.
if I was still going through the story mode. This is what my setup would probably look like. And I know some people, they do play on auto when they do these things.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is you, then what you want to do is you want to have the skill cooldown in 1, so the AI can throw that first, and then you want to have your weather with skill in 2. Then you want to have this skill right here, throw that in the 3rd spot so she can throw that down, and then you want to have your invisible bubble. And then when you still have the invisibility on it, and because I don't know if you guys noticed, this skill takes a long time to reel up. As soon as you throw this invisible bubble, you still have like a 3-second of invincibility to throw that skill, so you won't get hit
Okay.
as
Okay.
much. So yeah, that's how that
Good
breaks
to
down.
know. What about enhanced potential? What should people be really focusing on when it comes to using up their potential points? Because you know, you and I both know that after you're done leveling up to 110, it's very hard to get more enhanced potential. Like you literally have to waste crystals and a lot of gold to get just a little bit of enhanced potential.
Yeah, unlike other players, her kind of enhanced potentials are like kind of boo boo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like they didn't give her much to work with, eh? But if I were you guys, I would probably do attack. Like, man, I know you guys see this. This hurt because I could have got some points back if I just took my time with this.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would have done attack probably. Like, and honestly, anything in here, I probably wouldn't have even touched.
Yeah. It's just so
Yeah, bro.
skip
Like
this
this whole
Goddess of Thunder
exactly.
too.
Yeah, this whole thing right here is just useless. Like this 4% of status effect accuracy, like they know how bad this is. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all something how much you can get for status effect accuracy, because they know 14% on one roll, because they know that status effect accuracy is trash. So
Oh
one
my.
roll of, if you get bad luck and one roll of that is 14%. That's like how many potentials of those? Like
Yeah.
you can't even get 14% on there. So like that's just pointless to even have that right there, in my honest opinion. So this whole thing, forget about it. Now when you come here, like as you guys can see, I did attack.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm putting in is attack. Now here is very interesting because you can do these two, which would be cooldown decrease, as I told you guys. That does help. A cooldown increase in attack. So when I told you guys that Storm and Black Widow have like the highest base attack, it's because I don't know if you guys noticed, but like all like 3 of her potentials have
Yeah.
attack in it.
Yeah, that's what I've been noticing.
Yeah, some people potentially only have like 1 or 2 attacks, and then they have like crit damage or crit rate to the side of it in replace of that attack. But hers is like just strictly attack.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, if I were you guys, all offense here, all offense, attack, attack, and cooldown. And then if you have anything left over,
Yeah.
the next best thing would be guard damage. It's okay, but you know, I guess when you're going against bosses or PvP, especially like Captain America's, it'll help out a little bit when it comes to that guard. So can't go wrong with that one.
What about specializations? Like once you start getting towards like the end game, you unlock what level? Once you unlock the specializations, what would you be the first one you would go like aim for?
I got you. Here we go. So this is why I didn't want to spoil nothing while I was talking more in the beginning, because her specializations play so well with how you want to build her. When I was telling you guys about the Masco Knights, she has specializations that boost like really, really vital things. Like this right here, Deep Freeze class, it's going to be very easy for you to go ahead and cap that 50% off from her Deep Freeze classes, which is why, you know, things like her stamina recovery will be becoming more handy over her skill cooldown decrease, because you have something like this. And that also plays a factor into her lightning based class. When you try to do her lightning, she also has like another thing with her skills where the more damage you can put out, but the more stamina it costs. And that's why I really say that those two skills are kind of her bread and butter when you get into her specializations. Like without her specializations, you can just go strictly skill cooldown. The best thing I would say is probably equip this one right here. Like I told you guys, her shock damage is phenomenal.
Okay.
Her ice skills, they're second place. They're very viable, but that's more of a, you know, if you have to go that route because RNG wasn't in your favor. But for the majority of storms out there, you're going to see them run this one because it gives shock damage to the lightning class for each skill you have. This is where it comes in now, where you have to pick and choose with what you want to do. Because as I showed you guys, that ball, it hits for nothing. But if you throw that ball on now with your Weather Witch and your AoE Thunder attack, now you're probably getting around, what does that say? Probably like 11% damage, because now you have 3 skill cool. Now you have 3 lightning damages, probably like 9% right now is where I'm at. So I have 9% extra damage on my Storm right now because of me running that ball and that Witch skill and her AoE skill. I did try to play around with this skill a little bit. It's a nice skill, but it only hits like here and there sometimes. This is something you might see in Battle Challenge, in all honesty. As far as that goes, there's not really much to do with her. This one was, it was okay. This one right here is more of a PvP thing. Jesus Christ, come on now. Here we go. Yeah, like I don't know if you guys seen it, but it's kind of like that Captain Marvel's and Spider-Man kind of thing.
Okay.
Broken. Yeah, and it increases her die skill gauge recovery.
Storm has that too.
Yeah, who has that? Iron Man does.
No, Spider-Man and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Captain Marvel have it. Yeah, but that's what I run. And those are just kind of her only options. Like I said, if you're using ice, this is definitely fantastic. This is really fantastic. This one is a lot different than her actual chain right here. This one kind of like just tickles the opponent, even though it says all that percentage right there. Versus like this one is the actual explosion. So this one actually does phenomenal damage on explosion, and it's every 5 seconds. So, like I said, if you're taking the ice route, this is fantastic. This is a fantastic.
That look good,
you, bro. So like I try to tell people, you know, I know our Storm players usually say it's 80 set or bust, or you know, Hydra or Xandarth or bust, because you know most people kind of use that ice as, you know, protection versus offensive. But if you want to go to offensive route with the ice, it is very, very, very viable. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you are building your Storm. Just keep it in mind. That's all I want to advocate for you.
Okay. What about the like Omega cards?
Oh, Omega cards.
Does that play a big role? And
yeah, Omega cards plays a very, very big role.
Like, what cards should you farm?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You see my cards. I kind of messed up on mine. Why? Because I have 3 attack cards. Like I kind of overkilled on attack when she didn't need it.
Okay.
So my biggest thing would be to you guys, there's two non-debatable cards that you're going to need on Storm. And I mean, when I mean non-debatable, I mean non-debatable. It is this cooldown decrease card right here, and it's going to be this critical rate card. Those are the 2 cards that I am not going to argue with nobody with. If you want to argue with somebody, you can argue with your mama, but I'm not going to hear you when you speak on it. Two non-negotiable cards right here.
Okay.
The next thing that I would probably go for is, if you guys can, maybe try to get a defensive Pierce Modok card like this one, and then also pair it up with, I think it's this one. This card right here, this Ultron card with crit damage.
Yeah.
So most of the cards that you want to try to go for with Storm is crit damage, defensive Pierce, and critical rating. Another card that I would probably use another red skull card on this for this attack percentage, but I wouldn't use this attack card. I would use this crit damage card.
Okay, right, which can be farmed in Hydra, where by killing a red skull.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Like I'm gonna give you guys a tip. Just look at the face on the card.
That's
Just match the faces. You would know. Trust me. You would know if you just look at the faces. But yeah, guys, that's mainly her issue, is just getting those extra stats to crit damage, crit rate, and defensive Pierce, which as a Storm main is irritating, but if for the balance of the game, it makes completely total sense because I don't know if you guys know who Snap is, but Snap has capped his crit rate, his defensive piercing, his crit damage, and even people like Half Sand and Godslave can't even out DPS his Storm in PvE. So I honestly, I get why they made it hard for us to cap those stats. So
okay. So there we have it. We have the we just got done showing you guys the Omega cards. Explain to you where you guys can farm them. The two of them, the critical one that gives you the critical rate. Both of them can actually be farmed the Hydra, right?
Which one? What did you say?
The card that gives you critical rate, that increases your critical rate, and the cooldown.
Oh no, the critical rate card. This is an Artem Zola card.
Yeah.
Big head right there. But
you can only get in the dark zone.
Yeah, you gotta beat up on Artem Zola in the dark zone.
You gotta get him in the dark zone.
But as long as you got some friends that can knock them down, especially in the PvE territory, you'll be fine.
But what if there's somebody watching this video and they're barely beginning and they haven't unlocked the dark zone?
And they haven't unlocked the dark
zone. What would be a
yet.
replacement for that card? Because they won't be able to get that one.
If you want me to be honest with you guys, I know that everybody say go for rare cards, but I'm gonna be honest. Like rare cards is not so different for common cards unless if you got a set. If you don't have a set, then it really doesn't matter. So there are a lot of common cards in here that have crit rate on it. I'm not sure which ones are the card. I can look through all these if you guys want me to, but I'm just going to take a while. But as you guys can see, look at this defensive Pierce card right here.
Okay.
This is 9.6% on 6-star. When I go up to that, I'm going to go up to that where's he at? Where's that Modak card at? When I go up to this Modak card, you guys are going to see there's really no difference in like the stats.
It's on the left, right under Red Skull, right there.
I don't think this was it. Yeah, that was villain damage. Let me see. Where are you at, Mister? There you go. Look at that. Look at that. 9.6%. Like there's literally there's no difference at all from a common and a rare. Like they're just there for sets. That's the only thing that's different. So if you have a crit rate common card, just go ahead and equip that on there. It's not going to hurt you. I haven't really used common cards all that much, so I can't really tell you from the top of my head which one they are. But there's probably like 2 or 3. If you pull one of those and if they drop, just go ahead and equip it. At least get it up to like 4 stars. So that way when you do unlock Dark Zone, you can have some kind of power level to gauge yourself to go get that card. That's the best option that I have. So because I know this is a free-to-play channel, there are some free-to-play players here. There's going to be new players that's going to come in. Always remember, you don't have to invest heavy into common cards, but just know there's not, unless if you're going to do like all sets, there's really no difference in the common and the rare card.
So make sure if you guys are barely playing this game and you're watching this build because you chose to start off with Storm, also remember to do your dailies, and then you want to farm those cards. Start now farming those cards. It's going to really benefit you. Like as soon as you are able to farm the Hydra, just trust me. I wish I would have known about Omega cards because I was just throwing cards in there. I wasn't even upgrading for the longest time, and then finally after I think I watched a video from Half Cent. We're talking about Omega cards, and I really started focusing on it, and then that made a huge difference, like a huge difference. Also, don't focus on power level. Focus on stats. Don't be tricked by the red dot. Don't follow the red dot. Follow the stats. Trust me, because when I go to PvP, I'm over at 1,000. I'm at 1,200,000 power, and when I go to PvP, my power level drops to almost 200,000. Drops 200,000. So I'm like at 1 mil because I'm focusing on the stats more than the power level, and I do more damage that way.
Yeah, I would probably say don't focus on it per se, but try to get as far as you can to 1 million, only because in the challenges, you come over here as a free-to-play player. Every time you complete these challenges right here, you get, gems. So every time you hit that like new level threshold, As you can see here, mine is 1.2 million right here. So you just get an objective for that. That's the only thing I would say. Like Indy says, like he might put something on to hit a threshold, but then like when he actually needs to like do some damage, he might take some badges and switch them around, and it might drop him a little loader for that. So the best advice that I can tell you to do, at least until you get to 1 million, is maybe like if you're at 780K, you need that 20K to get to 800K. Maybe just equip something to get to that 800K. Go ahead and get your little milestone, and then just take it all off back to 780K.
All right, that I mean, and also I will be linking CJ's channel. He has a YouTube channel, and I'll be linking his channel down in the description below. He goes by, I think, the channel King CJ.
Yeah.
Yep, King CJ. And he posts videos. So if you are a Storm main, there's not that many Storm content creators out there. This is I don't.
Sure I'm the only one.
Yeah, he's probably the only one. So
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. But I just want to let you guys know, if you are a Storm player, there is definitely a big community of Storm players, especially after the what was the transmutation. Like I just showed you guys, like I'm 1.1 million. And I'm in 9th place, so that should tell you, like, you know, there are a lot of Storm players out there. Just, you know, some of them just don't, you know, they're not the kind of people that want to do videos. But, you know, you're definitely going to find a high player Storm in every server. So
if you want to see what his build can do, I recommend going to his channel and watching the video that I watched where it shows you in DZ, and this guy's taking the #1 spot, doing the most damage to the primes, and this guy's doing work. I recommend watching that video to see like this. Like, I'm not just, you know, having him on here just so, you know, just to make a video. Like, no, I've seen what he can do, so this is perfect. You guys are getting some good information from here. Yeah, he paid some money, but I'm only focusing on the free-to-play way. We showed you what he would do, what non-regional he would go for. You're seeing the regional gear that he chose.
And I mean, if you want me to go any deeper, because there will be free-to-play players out there, like no matter how much information you give them, they're going to chase the regional gear.
Yeah.
And like I always hear YouTubers say, Hydra. But there is definitely a strong. I don't even think this is strong in my opinion. I think this would be #1, especially after the little defensive Pierce silent buff that they did.
Yeah,
I think this is probably going to be the first regional gear you want to go to, because I've seen so many Storm free-to-play players who pulled all Xandar but since they've watched every like Storm video in the beginning of the game, because, you know, in the beginning of the game we didn't really have that much information out there and things have changed. They're highly upset because they didn't get Hydra. But I let them know, like, dude, as a free-to-play player, you have full Xandar. I don't know if you understand, but like you have defensive Pierce on here. That's like the other than dodge and PvP, like defensive Pierce and PvE is like dodge to PvP. Like this is the #1 stat right here. And so many free-to-play players get down because they have a full Xandar build and they don't have Hydra.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this right here, like this can arguably be the #1 gear if you ask me.
Yeah.
So free-to-play players, if you have this, equip it as soon as possible, okay? Don't wait for Hydra. Go ahead and equip it, man. I'm telling you, it's going to do wonders for you.
I think so many people overlook defense Pierce when it comes to PvE, and I think that that's something that's going to change, because for me, I'm able to do a lot of damage, and I'm using a non-regional build, but I feel like the main reason is because I focus a lot on defense Pierce. So
Iron Man, you guys get defensive Pierce up the wahoo on your cards.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's true. And when I take defensive Pierce down, I feel like my hits are harder when my defense Pierce hits like over 40%. And as soon as I took that off, it was a game changer. Like, whoa, I can't, you know, I saw a big difference in the amount of damage I'm doing to bosses once I wasn't focusing on defense Pierce. So once focusing on defense Pierce is a huge for PvE, because I still hear content creators saying defense Pierce is mainly for PvP, and I'm here telling you guys this is I mean this is like a whole entire different video because I really like honestly I want to do you know I definitely can I want to touch up on that, but I feel like that needs a video by itself. Like that is just how important defensive Pierce is for PvE too.
Yeah, and this right here, this is going to be a very, very big thing from Storm players. PvE, she's really, really busted to say the least. So even as a free-to-play player, probably like 800K, I'm gonna even like non-regional. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. Like you see all these scores, you see these people up here. Like let's look at this guy. He's probably like 1.2. He's 1.1. Look at because these are people I rank above on a daily basis, like with ease. Like people like him. He's 1.5 million. Like I easily outclassed him. Another person, I think he's like 1.3, 1.4. Yeah, 1.5. Like these are people that I can outclass with like breaking a sweat. Like this is also the other storm I told you guys about. Like he's 1.2 and I can just easily outscore him up there. And I was even doing that when I had 800K storm. So
damn.
Yeah, that's like I don't like guys. Storm is really, really good for PvE, especially in free to play players. Like this game mode helped me sort of quote unquote not become a free to play player because when I was doing this, it was because of this game mode how I got my Hydra chest piece and also got my Hydra hands. So and then that's what kind of drove me to be like, okay, all I need is these shoes. All I need is I had to do some draws to kind of get the
exactly.
So, look, guys, I'm going to be so honest with you guys. And Storm rocks this game mode out like fantastically. Like if I actually did a good run and I actually tried, I can score upwards to top 5 easily. Like, and that's not even doing a little fundling thing where you have your teammates fundle scores for you. Like, I mean, like actually going into a random pubs and get top 5 with her. So
okay,
all right. It's a sight. It's a sight, man. PV, like, hey, Storm players, free to play, whales, barely spending money. Focus on PvE. That's the biggest.
That's where she shines.
Focus on PvE, man.
Yeah,
man.
I can't wait to start now after talking to you, and then I'm definitely gonna rewatch this video.